Hello, welcome back to Shopping Tales. If you're new here, my name is Michelle. I'm a full-time reseller, mainly clothing on Poshmark and eBay. And today I'm just going to be showing you what I source. Sourcing means purchasing, buying secondhand, or not. It doesn't even mean secondhand. It just means purchasing things that you have the intention of buying to resell. And so when you hear resellers say they are outsourcing, that's what it means. They're out trying to find a good deal on things to flip it for a profit. I mean, since forever, people have been doing this. And so I mainly sell clothing and like fashion related items. And so I went to 2 Goodwills this past weekend and 4 yard sales. And so I'm going to show you what I bought at one of the school yard sales locally. So I went to a local yard sale and they had fill a bag for $3 because they were getting ready to close. And I sourced a bunch of these vintage, the brand is Blarney Woolen Mills. 1, 2, 3, do I have a 4th one? I thought I had a 4th one. I might have a 4th one in this pile. They are new with tags, and let's see. The tags, this is what the tag looks like. And again, it was fill a bag for $3, and I was able to stuff all of these plus a pair of shoes and 2 other items, which I'll show you. So really, really good cost of goods. And yeah, that's it. I don't know why I'm spending so much time. I think the school went on a school, I didn't ask, but I'm assuming a school field trip maybe, and they got these because there were so many of them. Okay, the other 2 things, look at these. I love packing these for vacations because you could literally just, you know, fold it up and put it in your back pocket if you needed to, or your pocketbook. So these little tiny one size fits all, and they really do. This is the hip area. That stretches to probably 46 inches around. One size fits all. And when I go, you know, overnight anywhere, or when we go on cruises and whatnot, I like to bring these because you could bring a whole bunch of them. I think I have like 10 at this point, and they're just like Y2K vintage 2000s probably. Little tops, look how tiny that is, but the bust, oops. So I remember these used to be sold at Hallmark back in the days. And back in the days when I was a busy mom, I only saw older people like older than me right now even wearing them. Now I see all ages. I think it just came right back around. This one's called Periscope. I think a lot of different brands make them. You do have to either hand wash them or throw them in a garment bag and wash them. They're 100% polyester. One size fits all, made in China. I mean, they only retail for probably $5 or $6. But these were actually at the little yard sale. In the viewfinder, it's looking like tomatoes or something. And so yeah, these are just really cool. They're just fun. They're fun to wear with jeans. All right, next was an April Cornell outfit, a wool poncho by April Cornell. This is the vintage tag for April Cornell. All right, so if you do a search for RN numbers or just April Cornell, there's websites that have all the tags of like any brand. I'm just using this brand for an example. And you could see exactly what decade each garment was made on this website. I'm going to put the website in my description of this video just for educational purposes. So you could get a, I mean, if we look at that tag, if you're familiar with tags, you would probably know that they don't embroidery tags anymore. They don't put that much effort into tags anymore. In fact, usually it's just printed right on, you know, the garment. Just a way to cut costs. But this is a very substantial piece. It's a one size fits all. And when I pulled comps, they were about 50. So I'll probably list her for 60 and take a $50 offer. It is definitely fall vibes. Trying to see if it has, yeah, it's just a long piece of double knit fabric. It is wool. Is it reversible? I mean, I guess it could be reversible. Yeah, it could be reversible. Of course, then you would have to remove the tag. But I was very, very happy to find that. That piece came from the Goodwill, and I spent $4.99. As this is how much actually my Goodwill charges. I know across the nation, all Goodwills charge differently, but just here, I am in North Carolina. This is the standard in my area where I live of Goodwill prices. And sometimes I complain, and then I hear other people in other videos talk about, like, I spent $4.99 for this shirt. And to me, it's like, oh, it should be $2.99. But when I watch other videos and people are like, oh, and I found this and it was only $8.99 at my Goodwill, I'm then very thankful of our Goodwill prices. This is just Chaps by Ralph Lauren. This is their lowest tier, Chaps. And it's a plus size 2X, no iron. I still wash and steam, you know, because you want to put with shirts like this. These are one of my bread and butters. These and the Chico's button-up sell very well for me in extra large up. They have the contrasting sleeves that a lot of ladies, I mean, I think a lady would be wearing that with white denim or dark denim, and she would be rolling up the cuffs so that contrast will show. Just very coastal and preppy vibes. So I do always pick those up if it's a 1X, 2X, or 3X. Next was this little Chico, size 3. Chico's uses vanity sizing. Size 3 is their XL. I like this myself, but I just sold these matching pants. I had these matching pants that sold last month, and I wish I still had them because I think, you know, a set would look so cute. But this is just the blazer part of it, and I know a lot of people don't like sets, so I think this will still sell. Chico's retails for quite a lot. I'm pretty sure this probably retails for about $129, if not more. And it is 2-ply. They do make a good blazer. So it is full length sleeves, and look at a little attention to detail with that ruffle. And it, does it button? It looks like someone sewed it down. There we go. I just noticed that. Let me make sure the other one's sewed down. Yeah, they're both sewed down, but you know what? That is not a straight stitch, so I think somebody did that just because they probably didn't like the bell sleeves. I know a lot of people don't like that bell sleeves. So this just has a really nice collar as well, and it's just an extra large, good with the holidays coming. I have some story time here on my iPad that I was going to be sharing here because this is shopping tales. A lot of people just like the tales, some people like the shopping, so let's just take a little intermission while I was shopping at one of my Goodwills. There was a man cussing, and he was talking to a little kid, and I'm always wondering, like, okay, he's cussing. I know, you know, I think the majority of parents cuss. I don't cuss, but I know that majority of people cuss. So I'm always curious when someone is yelling and cussing at a kid. There's one time it was a baby, and obviously the baby or even a toddler I don't think understands. So yeah, I do always kind of like, who are they cussing at, you know? And so the little boy looked about 5 or 6. I don't know if the guy just referred to himself as Pa. I don't know if it was his father or his grandfather. He looked a lot older than that child, so I'm thinking his grandfather. But he was telling him what a bad little boy he is, and that bad things happen to bad little boys, and that life is going to chew him up and spit him out if he keeps on being a bad little boy, that he needs to be a good little boy. And he said that, he did say, I'm your Pa and I love you, which was, you know, nice. But he said that the world is not going to be as kind to you, so you need to straighten up your, you know, act, basically, he said. And he said, you do want to be, he ended the conversation as, you do want to be a good boy, right? Or do you want to be a bad boy? And the little boy just said, I'm sorry, Pa, and yes, I want to be a good little boy. It was just kind of sad. I don't know how you guys feel about that. I almost feel like if you're a kid or a child, grandchild, I almost feel like you should take the child to the car and then talk to them in private. Because yeah, if I heard, everybody else heard. It wasn't a, you know, whisper. It was a loud talking on the aisle next to me. So anywho, okay, so the other one was quite funny. I went to a yard sale, and it was local, and it was inside and outside. But when I got there, you could just smell the urine. I don't know if it was human or cat, dog, whatever. I'm thinking cat urine. I don't know. But there is a big bag. I'll put it right here. Big bag of bras. And if you know me here on my reselling channel, you know that I sell bras almost daily. I feel like I do sell a bra a day, but maybe let's just say for sake of argument every other day. But I sell bras, and so it was a big black 33-gallon type of bag, and as you could see, a smaller bag, and they had multiple stacks. They were filled with bras, but as I was trying to go through them, I did notice they were new with tags, Bally, Playtex, not really brands that I tend to sell. So one of the ladies said that I could have them all for $10. There's like 100 bras total, and but I was just smelling the urine so much, I just said no thank you. And then one of them said that they've been collecting for 40+ years. They've been best friends. They've lived in this Victorian style big 3-story house, and this was the first time they've had a yard sale. And they said that I'm welcome to go inside, and if I see anything, just be careful to stay on the path. They had the front door open, and I am, you know, I'm at the end of the stairs. I'm looking through stuff, not on the outside of the home, not in the inside. And so I do glance up. I just, you know, thank you so much. You know, I may, you know. But when I looked up, I did see wall to wall. I mean, I did see a small, narrow path and cats. I'm going to say 6 cats just at a glance, you know, walking back and forth. And you could just smell the urine coming from the house. So I'm going to say that they were hoarders, and I was happy that, you know, oh gosh, I know a lot of hoarders tend to think that someday they're going to be resellers. At least that's what I've been told. And I have a family member that's no longer with me and was a hoarder. And I remember that is what I used to hear, is that they plan to sell someday. So it was nice and encouraging and positive to see them actually selling some of their collections. But I left empty-handed. That was the only, I went to 4 yard sales. That was the only one that I did leave empty-handed. And yeah, you know, so that was the other thing. So next is an extra large Maeve by Anthropologie. I feel like this brand runs large. This is like the second or third skirt that I found by this brand. They're very, very well made. I'm going to say this retail for probably $168 new. And it's lined, it's tiered, it's heavy. It's heavy. And again, it's extra large, but I feel like that could fit a 1 or 2X. And it's just a full length hot pink maxi. I will probably wash it, steam it, and probably put it up for maybe 40. I will be pulling comps. I have not done so yet. All right, next is sort of boring. I have a love-hate relationship with selling bathrobes. I don't know how you guys feel about bathrobes. I find them frequently, but normally I leave them behind because they're heavy and they take up a lot of room. Can you see any of my bins? Let's see. I use for reselling, there we go. I use the number system, and I have currently 39, 1 through 39, 33, I think gallon bins. I get them, I'm going to try to link them in the description. I get off Amazon a pack of 6 when I do need them, but I'm going to try to stay with 39 bins and not overwhelm myself. I currently do have 3,000 listings on Poshmark and eBay. And anyways, I don't know where I was going with that. I was just trying to explain why I don't pick up heavy bathrobes, because they take a lot of space in those bins. I could probably fit maybe 6 of them. But once a year, $4.99, once a year, one of my Goodwills gets a bunch of Dream & Co. plus size bathrobes and night shirts. I remember last year there was hundreds of night shirts. They had them with the dresses and they were selling them for $6, but they were actually not dresses, they were nightgowns, but I don't think they knew that. So this is just a plus size hooded, full zip. Does it have pockets? Yes, it has pockets. And I went to the website and they retail for $80. So I'm going to try to list them for like $50 and then maybe take a $40 offer. I'd be happy to get $40. So I brought one in blue, and I didn't even buy them all. There was a lot of them. And that's actually another story time I didn't even think of. What do you guys do while you're sourcing? Okay, so there's a long row, and you know, small, medium, large, and extra large is usually on the end, and small is on the other end. And if someone is right in the middle, like the large, if they're looking and they start, and you could tell that they are going through them all, maybe they started at small and they're going through them all, maybe they're another reseller, and they cop an attitude if you get in front of them. Not that you're in their way, but maybe you're just going to be looking at XL, and that would be me. I'm not looking through small, medium. Sometimes I look at large, but mainly I stay with large and plus, or extra large and plus size. So that is what I primarily source and look for. So how do you guys feel about that? Do you wait until that person has their turn and they go through all of them, and then maybe you go behind them and wait your turn? Or if you were just looking for, say, XL, are you getting them in front of them? And then are you saying, excuse me? I don't know. So that is what I did, because I was on a time crunch. I went to so many different places that day, and I got in front of her while she was looking at the large, and I quickly started going through the extra large. I had my cart behind me, and she does a sigh, so she's giving me a social cue that she's annoyed that I got on the XL, and she wanted to get a chance to look at the whole row before I did. But then she went as far as taking my cart and pushing it, and then it banged up against some picture frames. So that got my attention. And I could have said, excuse me, you know, all annoyed. But then there's that confrontation, and it's like, you know, I don't want to be in a bad mood. So I was annoyed though. I didn't say anything. I just stood there then for a minute and just stopped. You know, when you're driving and someone's tailgating you, so you decide to go slower, that type of situation where I'm just going to stop now and wait for you to leave. And yeah, she did end up leaving, but it's just kind of unfortunate. I mean, there's room for all of us, and 9 out of 10 times, if I was not as tired as I was by that point, I would have said, okay, let's have this girl have her go, and then let me go look at the shoes while, you know, she finishes. But I had already looked through everything else, and the last thing was to look at the nightwear. So that's why I didn't do that, guys. What do you guys do with situations like that? Okay, so this is a purple one in 4X, size 34-36. Again, these are hooded bathrobes by Dreams & Co. and Women Within sells this brand. I have that blue one, I have this purple one, and then I found the terry ones. These are the kind that I actually like, and I have two myself that I use, one in white and one in green. But these ones are so good because they're just a really heavy terry cloth. Like you get out of the shower and maybe you don't want to put your bath towel, you know, you don't want to dry off with your towel, and you just put this on because essentially that is a bath towel. I had an aunt that used to do that. That's why I'm saying that. This is a 4X. Pockets, rope. Again, I have two of these myself. They had so many of them. I didn't buy them all. And they were $4.99 each. They retail for $89, and I'm hoping to get 40 to 50 per. So then that one and that turquoise shade of blue. But then look at this blue. So I think I brought 6 of them. Okay, that one was 4X. This is the 2X one in this striking kind of turquoise, true turquoise color. Beautiful. They're so heavy though. I'm hoping they'll sell on Poshmark, not eBay, because as you know, Poshmark up to 5 pounds, only I think it's $6.49 now. Where I think on eBay, I'm gonna have to put like 2.5, 3 pounds. I'm probably gonna have to put 3 pounds and ship this in a box. And I think if it goes out west, I'm in North Carolina, that thing's gonna cost 20 bucks to ship if I ship it on eBay. So I do cross posts. I use Vendoo, which Vendoo, whew, chef's kiss. Vendoo's awesome. I will have that linked in my description. I think by now most of us that are resellers use Vendoo. A very small price to pay to cross post everything in the snap of a finger and relist. Okay, so this is another one, 4X, like that first one that I showed you, but a bigger size. Again with the hood, $4.99. And then lastly, I do not need, nope, 2 more. Don't need another bathrobe. I really like this style. This little granny core one, it's full length, it has a zip, it has some embroidery on it, lavender purple, Dreams & Co., short sleeve, and this just looks cozy. Like, you know, have your night shirt or whatever you wear to bed, and then you have this over it until you go to bed, cozy in the corner, have your chamomile tea before bed. This is just, I really like this a lot. I'm trying to talk myself into not keeping it. All right, and so, oh my goodness. Last bathrobe, I think it was 6. So this is a dark charcoal gray, and this one feels, no, 4X, 34-36 once again, and it's just a charcoal gray, full length. These things look 60 inches in length, and these are sweatshirt material. And yeah, hooded, and great cozy vibes for this time of year. Okay, so moving back to clothing, regular clothing items. I don't want to make this too long. Lily Pulitzer size large. Now I did have, there was a few Lily Pulitzers. I didn't buy them all. Sometimes they sell, sometimes they don't for me. So I'm very particular with, I guess, what Lily I pick up. I can't seem to even give away anything vintage, so I don't even pick up vintage ones anymore. I left behind, I think, a shirt and a pair of pants. The pants were low rise, and I think the pants may have been vintage. That's why I didn't pick them up, and they were a size 8 or 10. So look at this little tassel. So this is sort of like preppy meets boho with those little palms and tassels, size large. And if you want to know whether something's vintage or not all brands, but a lot of brands, especially nowadays, have incorporated the date that it was manufactured. Great. And this just says September 2019. So, I mean, it is, you know, 5-6 years old, 6 years old. And that makes a difference when people are looking for pieces. They're either looking for a vintage piece, but more often than not, they're looking for a in-store piece, something that is not vintage from my experience selling. All right, the first thing that I found at Goodwill was this 100% cashmere Turnberry, just I think not even like a boutique brand or whatever, it's just a V-neck. It's thicker, that's why I picked it up. It's not as thin as if you're familiar with Quince cashmere, which is, I think, kind of see-through. This one's not see-through. But I don't think it's terribly expensive. Like if this, I always find that interesting. If this was a name brand, see, without it being a name brand, I'll get $30, $40. But if this was a name brand, their name brand cashmere is usually $300-$400, like something from Bloomingdale's or Nordstrom. Something designer even would be hundreds of dollars, even though it's just a V-neck with no logos, black cashmere sweater. That always is just fascinating because that person who's looking for a $600 cashmere sweater that looks like this is not going to buy this even for $40. And they'll know that it's just some brand that they're not familiar with, you know? I don't know if that makes sense, but I'm always fascinated with the people that like quiet luxury, which means no logos, just they know. And I guess they feel they're a feeler dresser, and I could get on board with that. I'm a feeler dresser too, but not to that caliber, I guess. Yeah, not to that caliber. So I wear depending on how I feel that day. That's what I'm dressing like. All right, next is a Lily Pulitzer XL from 2020. Look at this. And this is what the new label looks like. I think I already showed you the new label of the other one. That's the new label, hot pink, guys, with gold lettering in cursive. And I will put how much these shirts retail for. Lily's not cheap, guys. That said, with dresses, I usually get $89 to $99 for dresses, but they have to be XL. I don't get that for small, medium, or large dresses. But the dresses retail for, the short dresses retail for $168. So selling it for $80 or $90 is really good. And that, I pay $4.99. I think I put it at the beginning of the video. I'll put it again here. How much I pay for my items. And this is just a Talbot's plus size mock neck zip up braided knit jumper sweater. I like that myself. It's so pretty, but it doesn't get hot. It doesn't get cold enough here to do like a turtleneck or a mock neck. Maybe once. I don't know. I feel like I wear a turtleneck maybe once a year. So on that day, so not worth keeping. And then, okay, let's grab all of these. Oops, here we go. I showed you 4 earlier. Here's 2 more. And they're size 36. And that is just size 36. And I believe 36 is a size small. So 2 more of that. So I had 4, 5, 6. All right, and lastly, let's talk about, oh my goodness, all of these. So, and I have a pair in my bedroom too because I thought I was going to be wearing these. So this is a try. I'm not telling you to go out and buy all the corduroys. Corduroys is supposed to be popular for this fall. The average woman is a 14 to a size 16. So regarding jeans, I tend to try to always buy that. And when you hold them up like that, if the back size is higher than this, they're not low rise. They're usually mid rise. I find that if this is as high as this, then they're high rise. So this is a mid rise. It's going to cover the booty. And it's going to sit about belly button, not low rise, but, and when taking a rise measurement, it's the seam at the crotch to the top button. So yeah, that's probably 10 inch. Some might say 10 inches still high rise. When I think of high rise, I think 12 inches or even 14 inches. So these black Talbot's corduroys, I didn't buy them all. They had almost a full row of them of all different sizes. I bought 2 14W since that's the standard, American size for women. They're straight leg, they're black, and they're corduroy, and they're a preppy brand Talbot. So that is why I brought them. I brought 1. And I'm going to probably list them. I'm put right here how much they retail for. I actually didn't pull comps on them, so I don't know. But I'm hoping to get about $35 a pair. We'll see. 2, okay, this is the second pair, again, in 14W. And then I have 1 pair in my bedroom. And this is 18W. I think I have 18W in my bedroom as well. And so 6 pairs plus this one as well. Okay, 18W. For some reason, I thought I brought 20 and 22. They did have sizes 20 and 22. They had size 16, and I think they had several 24. But since I'm just kind of playing around to see how those move, that is why I just brought those 6 pairs. Also sourced at a yard. She said this was rabbit fur, dyed rabbit fur. And I got this for $1. And then these scarves were $3 each, made in Scotland, pure wool, made in Scotland. Look at that. Does anybody my age or up, 50, I feel like you would have to be at least 50, maybe in your 40s, but I think you'd have to be at least 50 and up. Who remembers Woolworths? Woolworths. Before there was CVS and Walgreens, there was Woolworths. And I remember even getting breakfast with my grandma at Woolworths. And look at that. It was only $2.49. Pure wool. $2.49, probably in the 70s, maybe early 80s. I remember going in the late 70s and early 80s, like 82. And the pharmacy, the Woolworths was selling, I mean, it wasn't just a pharmacy. It was stuff as well, and it had like a little place to eat breakfast. But the fact that they were having imported wool. And the fact that this is flawless with no moth holes, whoever took care of it, number one, they've never worn it. Only a few dollars. And then lastly, this one is made in Italy. I've never heard of this brand. It's a wool blend made in Italy, Fratelli Tali. So they had, this was the first yard sale that I went to, and they had so much stuff. They had a lot of scarves. I probably should have gotten more because she said you could have them all. I think she said you could have them all for $10. I just picked up these 3. At the same yard sale, I brought this for $5. And she said she got it at the Bahamas years ago. So it's just a cute, cute little, I think it'd be great for a cruise or just any vacation. So picnic, I mean, this isn't fall vibes. It's definitely summer vibes, but still with these cute little, yeah, it does. It looks like I could see that. She could probably got it at the Bahamas for sure. But even so, with the right keywords, this will sell. I have been doing quite well with these type of turn lock little, you know, basket purses. Been doing quite well selling them. I usually get about 40 for them, so we'll see. And at the same yard sale, okay, and also I got these shoes. I thought they were Yeezys at first, but they're actually Puma, but Puma makes like a higher end, more expensive shoe. These are men's 10.5. And at a different Goodwill, I found these pairs of shoes. These are like new Alegrias. I stopped picking up Alegrias because they weren't selling, but all of a sudden, people start buying them again. And these are size 42, so they're size 11 to 11.5. They're like new, guys. These shoes, I believe these shoes retail for like $159. Maybe they've come down to $99. They do go on sale. But, so I got those shoes. And then I also sourced last week these Rothy's. They're size 10.5 women's white Rothy's. And I already took these insoles out to wash them. I already washed and dried them. So they are so fresh. I'll put how much they retail here for. And I got them for $6. And that is all I have for you today, guys. How have your sales been? Comment below. I tried to keep this at 20 minutes. I'm so sorry. 24 minutes, guys. I hope everybody has a good one and is doing good in their business. Have a nice day. Bye-bye.